City, in which county is Saboti constituency?
Is Saboti in Vihiga County?
Next.
The question was directed to you, not
Yes.
to me.
No, it was directed to me.
Okay,
And you're looking at me.
Okay,
Yes,
Shindwa.
it's you who comes from there.
Okay, Shindwa nipe mji.
Saboti. No, I don't think I'm wrong.
Saboti was about.
No, that's Trans Nzoia. Yes,
So,
So it's in
I think it's Vihiga County.
That's
Okay.
Saboti.
That's Sabati.
Yeah.
Is it not in Trans Nzoia?
Yeah.
Sabatia,
Yeah.
Vihiga.
Sabatia is in Vihiga.
Saboti.
Saboti is in Trans Nzoia.
Oh,
And apparently I was born in Sabatia and I'm MP Saboti.
Bash. That's the member of parliament for Saboti constituency. Who's our next guest? Caleb. Amisi. Caleb.
Caleb.
You remember?
Caleb is.
Caleb is here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we crossed Caleb long time ago.
The man who owns the name said it's Caleb.
Yeah.
Aliachana. Caleb ilikuwa primary.
Yes.
Caleb is academy.
Sasa ni Caleb Amisi.
Yes.
Mheshimiwa, good morning.
Groups of schools. That's how. Yeah.
Karibu sana to Kenya's biggest conversation.
Yes. Thank you very much. And
Karibu
good
sana.
morning, everyone.
How many constituencies are in Trans Nzoia County?
5. We have Saboti as number 1. Always number 1 because I'm always rated number 1
all right.
Oh, okay.
in development. So we start there. Then we have Cherengani, currently led by Simiu. And then we have Kiminini. Kiminini is currently led by Kakai Bisau. And then we have Kwanza, led by Ferdinand Wanyonyi. We call him Magufuli. And then we have Endebes, led by Dr. Bukose. And that's Trans Nzoia. And of course, the Trans Nzoia County led by my good friend Natembea. Yes. The women rep is Yoi, and the senator is Alan Chesang.
Right.
That's the complete leadership. I can go on mentioning MCS, but I think we don't have the time.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
It borders several other counties.
It borders, I think, Kakamega, around Kiminini side, okay, Bungoma, because there is Tongareni, they are close to Kiminini. On this other side, there is also partly Kakamega, because of Likuyani there. Then Wasingishu because of Moise Bridge down there. Then Marakwet, Elgeyo Marakwet, because of Cherengani up there, the hills. Partly West Pokot, because of that Makutano area.
Yeah.
Then on this other side, Bungoma. Okay, there is also Uganda, Endebes there, Swam. There is also another route from, in fact, from all the way from Namanga. You cross from Namanga to Uganda. How? From Namanga, you come to Mombasa Road, Waiyaki Way, Uhuru Waiyaki Way, all the way to Naivasha, Gilgil, Nakuru, Eldoret, Webuye. Okay, there's one for Webuye towards Malaba,
Yeah,
but
Malaba.
now at Mile Saba, you go to Kitale, then from Kitale, Matisi at my home,
Yeah.
and then all the way to Endebes and the Swam. So it is a whole highway from
route all the way
Tanzania to
UG.
Uganda.
Very good.
Then, of course, is Bungoma at around Mount Elgon is Bungoma, so I border Mount Elgon. Then Kaptama, Kiminini, also borders there. Yeah, those are our neighbors.
Very good.
Yeah,
It's a big county.
very.
It's a Trans Nzoia.
Yeah, and it's the most cosmopolitan. All tribes that are in Kenya are in Trans Nzoia, and all tribes that are in Kenya in my constituency. So Saboti is one of the most cosmopolitan constituencies, including Indians are there, and are my voters.
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay, City. Now that homework has been done.
no, it has been done.
Now you give him the homework.
And I'm very
This
grateful.
week the proverbs are from?
The Gambia,
Okay.
the Republic of Gambia.
Uliza swali moja.
Kutoka huko. Mheshimiwa, just so that I can appear to be somebody who understands courtesy when we have guests. I have a question to ask the guest. Would you know the capital of Gambia?
Gambia.
Small country.
A very small country.
In West Africa.
In West Africa. It's not Gaborone, yeah?
That one is further down.
Gaborone is
Botswana.
for Botswana.
Yes.
Not Banjul?
Absolutely correct.
Yeah.
You have got it.
Yes.
Yes.
Jamaa anajua geography yake sana.
No, this is geography. That's why I chose that particular question.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm not an easy person, man.
You're Caleb
Misi
after all.
kidogo.
Misi kidogo.
Yes. Much more not small.
What's the proverb?
Never mind how ugly this proverb is intended. I have to preface it. This proverb.
Why did you just choose an ugly proverb to me?
No, it's not you. It's a proverb for the day. And whatever I'm about to say, I may use the word you, which I'm not referring to you. It's you in the general sense of the word. It's the Catholic approach to the word you. Never mind how ugly your nose is, so long as you can breathe through it.
Yes. So my nose is ugly.
No. That is the reason why I premised it by saying it has nothing to do with you. The you is a general term for anyone who's listening. It doesn't matter.
But how come the whites have long nose and they're clever? Why? What's
Ugly doesn't mean that
long?
You have a nose that looks like a vacuum cleaner. It can look like a pencil.
Yes.
Still a nose.
Yes. So you want the meaning?
What's the interpretation of the proverb?
Now, could you now repeat the proverb?
Yes. Never mind how ugly your nose is, so long as you can breathe through it.
It looks like a straightforward proverb. But I think it's from different angles. In my view, I'm not good in interpreting proverbs and misemos because they are identical to the culture and area and the region. There are some proverbs that are said in West Africa. When you come to East Africa, you find the different meaning. Yeah, but I think no matter what you have, as long as it is helping you to achieve your goals, maybe that is
you're 100% right.
A simple way of looking at it.
And sometimes simplicity is the best way of looking at it.
Yes,
it's absolutely correct.
That's
true.
That's true. So, Mheshimiwa, the Madaraka Day celebrations for this year were conducted in Western Kenya, in a neighboring county. And we saw you in social media from speaking at various public fora, and you had an issue or two about the president's visit to Western Kenya. Can you just give us in summary what's your view of this?
I didn't have an issue with the president visiting Kenya, Western Kenya. He has been visiting and has had some cordial, reception. And my problem is the premature excitement of leaders, and leaders behaving that the presence of president in one day can change the economic situation of that region, and the sheer ignorance of leaders. You saw some leaders being paraded at night, the wee hours, sitting like small kids on a stool waiting for the president, probably ostensibly to be given something small to attend Madaraka Day. That's what I heard. They're waiting for something small. They are not waiting to discuss development of Western at night. I guess if you are to discuss the development of Western at night, you'll not be paraded in the cold in the wee hours to talk about Western. And then what are we talking about development at night? To me, I think leaders missed an opportunity to take presidents down deep to our roads. Because if you bring presidents to an airstrip that has been constructed by the army for the last 1 month, he's landing on an airstrip in Bungoma, and they're thinking this is how the rest of Western is, something that has been done. And I think we must run away from this tokenism. Just because you want to hold a Madaraka Day in a county, that's the time now you make an airstrip. So what happens tomorrow? Are we going to have flights landing in that airstrip? No. It's going to be idle. Grass will grow on it until another Madaraka Day. That's when they'll do a renovation. Because there's no planes landing there. It was just the first army plane carrying the president, and that will be it. And the amount of money that has been used on that particular day to a tune of 900 million, you can imagine how many roads that could be constructed across. My constituency alone is always rated as the only constituency in the entire region, or either Western or Kenya, that has no road to bitumen standard, no tarmac road whatsoever.
Not maybe a single kilometer.
Not even a single kilometer. I've been going to Murkomen until everybody in that office knows me because of that situation. It is a concern that was left behind for a long time. Remember, most of the leaders has been opposition from Wamalwa Kijana. Most leaders from that have been from opposition. I don't know, maybe that is the reason. But you can imagine I just needed like 200 million out of that 900 to just make the road passable. I don't even want to do the tarmac or the bitumen standard. I just want to make the road passable. And that means people can take their produce to the nearest market, and the movement of border borders can, women's being carried on border, they are not able to, stuck on the mud and all that. So I believe the amount of money that has been used for that one day could have done so many roads across Saboti, so many roads across Bungoma, but this was just to impress one person, the President of the Republic of Kenya.
Why would people think that the president's visiting Western would suddenly and this is not just in Western, it doesn't matter where he's been over the last, 1 year or so. The thinking is that because he has visited an area, the local leadership then believe that some kind of development agenda will be fulfilled because he's visiting. To me, it's myopic, but why would anybody think that?
Yes, you are very right. In fact, you are supposed to be a better member of parliament than those people. If members of parliament were, nominated, I could have nominated you today.
Thank you.
But unfortunately, they're elected. And it was a very bad picture. I looked at it. I was not there. I can never be invited anyway. You know that. They invite all members of parliament except Caleb Amisi. I'm the only member from Western region who has never met William Ruto. The only one.
What do you mean?
I've never met him. And I'm the only elected member of, not even a member of parliament, whether it's governor, MCA, women rep, any elected leader nominated in the entire Western region, I'm the only one who has never met William Ruto.
Why?
Because my principles and his are like day and night. And what will I be meeting William Ruto to do? What? To listen to his lies? I don't belong to that category of people who listen to lies. I will meet a leader whom we can talk in the same wavelengths.
What are you saying? Are you saying that you will not be party to that, or that everything that he is saying actually doesn't make sense or is not true?
Everything he does doesn't make sense, is not true. For example, if you are paraded at night in the wee hours in a state lodge somewhere in Kakamega to be given tokenism so that you can mobilize people to go to a Madaraka Day, instead of calling these leaders in broad daylight, maybe in that very stadium or even in State House, to discuss the overall development of the people of Western, including even those who don't agree with you, even like Caleb Amisi. But if you call only those who agree with you and you ignore those who do not agree with you, it means you are doing politics. You have not doing development. And if you ask those leaders, so after meeting the president, how many roads are going to be constructed? How many schools are going to be constructed? Which new university is going to be built? How many of our youths are going to get employment, whether it is through that internet thing of his or whatever? What is this impact that has been created? They have no idea. They got their money, they pocketed, they went drinking. Those who drink, those who are pastors, they went to the church, and that is it. The day is ended. My celebration is ended. The locals have eaten their nyama and rice. They have gone. And life goes on as if nothing happened.
Caleb,
this is the kind of.
Are you saying, Caleb? Are you aware what conversations took place between the elected leaders and the president and other people from the national leadership? Do you know what
there can never be a conversation between a president and the members of parliament. Never.
What do you mean?
Why?
Because the president has a very singular duty from members of parliament. The president cannot dish development because he has no power in the constitution to dish development. It is the parliament, members of parliament, who appropriate money for various projects across the country. We've just passed the budget policy statement. The budget policy statement was not for Uganda or Tanzania.
I'm sorry,
the budget policy statement.
And ask you if members of parliament actually know this, because members of parliament themselves were the ones who were running around trying to get to Bungoma. Everybody's looking for the last flight from Nairobi to Kisumu, and here you are telling us that members of parliament should actually know that the power is vested in them to appropriate development, but still we're running helter-skelter at the behest of the president to hope for some kind of goodies to land in their hands. We had a senator who was complaining over the weekend and said, no, why is all this talk going to Bungoma? It should be coming to Kakamega. For goodness sake, members of parliament should be aware that they are responsible for the appropriation of development, and yet are following the same president whom you say has a singular duty. Why?
Yes,
Why?
Exactly. The president was
all
coming.
of you then should go home.
Not all of us. All of them, except Caleb. That's why I'm never called, because I'll question them. They know that I will question. People know that I'm not a person who was brought by a godfather. I came to politics on my own. I did my politics on my own, even when Baba, my party leader, goes wrong. The other day when he took us to the streets in front of my members of parliament, I asked Baba, don't take us to streets, and then the next minute you are shaking hands with the president. That's what happened. And people were shocked. People were touching me down here to wewe nyamaza. Unaongelesha mzee. Because, you see, I'm just myself. When things are not right, I'll tell you these are not right. So, the reason why they don't call me in such a meeting, because they know I will embarrass the president. And they don't want him to be embarrassed, because then they'll not get that small thing they want from the president. And the small thing is just little coin to their pocket. If you ask them, so what did the president say, or which road will be constructed tomorrow? There isn't. So what did the president say that there will be a new airport that will be constructed? When and how much? They'll not tell you. The president came to officiate a national function. That's it. That is his duty. His duty is not to walk around the country dishing development. It is never in any constitution.
But why would you call it dishing development when you yourself has told us that you keep going to Kipchumba Murkomen's office?
I go there to explain my program. The reason why I go to Murkomen is one. Number two, to just make him understand, because Kipchumba Murkomen has been avoiding to come to parliament. I have enough questions lined up at my table room number 8 in parliament, by Caleb Amisi MP for Saboti, for Kipchumba Murkomen to come and answer. He has never, because Kimani Ichung'wah is somehow protect this cabinet secretaries from coming to answer questions in parliament. So when you
go to his office, what are you saying?
When I go to the office, I go and to explain to him, please, as you make your program, because I know there are programs on roads network, which I have an opportunity to do it in parliament, but you don't appear. So I have to appear to your office to explain to you that my roads in Trans Nzoia and Saboti are dire, a place that he knows very well. And I have shared with him that instead of this money you put on Kera, every financial year there is about 50 or 60 million on maintenance. If for the 5 years, if you put this money together, it's about 300 million. This is money that can even make a few kilometers of tarmac road.
So why has that not happened? And yet you are the member of parliament, you appropriate all this money, even the money that comes from the road maintenance.
I don't.
You know how much it goes into each constituency, how much is allocated per constituency. Why haven't you been able to do it? Why do you?
Why?
need now to
Because
go to a
the
minister to
parliament
plead?
is also a theatre of politics. It is a theatre of politics. Why? Because everything is about numbers. We make, as a minority, we make our noise. I'm on record making noise. But those who sit in parliament and in the leadership of the committees are led by the ruling party. And once you present your proposal there, eventually they're ignored. Why? Because the president wants this to be done. The money is directed to this. The money is directed to this. So you are left out. So parliament is not... If parliament was a way that you present your own budget and it passes, then I'll be ready to be hanged. But the problem is, it is a game of numbers. You present your views, but the numbers... You saw what happens with Linturi. We voted 149 members against 30. And what happened? They formed a committee to investigate him. That committee of 11 members, majority came from UDA, which is now the majority. The biggest calamity that happens to parliament is for the speaker, whom we are going to chase from Western very soon. If it's for the speaker, yes, we are going to chase the speaker and the Mudavadi at the cause of the troubles of the Mulembe nation. If the speaker agrees that a list coming from Kimani Ichunga, consisting of members who have voted no, and is the members you are choosing to put in that list, really, is that not a travesty of justice? Why not choose from yes and a no team so that it is balanced? But he specifically looked for members who supported Linturi in the voting, and he put them in that select committee. Right. What do you expect? And it is so intentional. That's why I said we do not have governance here.
You don't have leadership.
We don't have leadership.
Before
what
we
we
go
have,
to the break,
they're just jokers.
I just want to stick on that issue of meeting the president, right? Sounds to me that meeting the Kipchumba Murkomen's boss and taking the case that you had on roads for Saboti and saying there's money allocated for road development and maintenance in Saboti constituency, I want it to put into good use and the contracting to happen haraka haraka. If Kipchumba is not seeing you, you can see the boss. Maybe that's what all the other members of parliament in Western are doing.
Then
they are going to report the minister.
But has anything happened to their constituency? None. I was in Kakamega in a funeral of one of my friends called Toto. The father died in Kakamega. People are crying. All those members from Kakamega, they see the president, not see the president, they call him on a daily basis. The president visits in them in their Arambes. Has anything happened to them? Secondly, which people around president will allow Caleb Amisi to near State House, knowing very well that he's a lethal opposition leader? Who will allow me? Thirdly, even if you meet the president and you know the kind of liar he is, how he knows how to play to the public gallery, he will just tell you, hii itafanyika kesho asubuhi, na apigie Murkomen simu na amwambie hii maneno imefanyika. Will you stick in State House waiting for it to be done until you leave? You will leave with that lie alongside until now. The next time you meet him and he'll explain to you how the floods ravaged the whole country and money was diverted. There will always be a lie to a lie to a lie until Jesus comes.
Caleb Amisi is a member of parliament for Saboti constituency. Saboti is in Trans Nzoia County. In the neighboring county of Bungoma, there was the national celebration over the weekend, and the president did a tour around of that area and that region. Caleb is saying some of his colleagues who are leaders from that region are just, moving around with the president and wasting a lot of time, not getting much out of it. City, do you get what the MP is saying?
I hear what he's saying, but the question that comes to my mind as I'm listening to the Mheshimiwa, well, this is something that has been on my mind for a while. Are we saying that it is not possible to actually get members of parliament who are aligned to the leadership, the executive of the ruling party at the moment, to see the sense in voting in a certain direction? Now, the case in point of Linturi points to the fact that it can happen. They can actually vote. But then it begs the question, if it is alleged that there are certain individuals within parliament who railroad certain efforts Are we therefore saying that we should just sit back and wait until this term, the 5 years, come to an end? Because no matter what is done, MPs who have aligned themselves to the ruling party will never vote for anything other than what they're told by the president. Is that what you're saying?
The worst catastrophe that befell our nation was the tribal balkanization of our country. And that it reflects even in the parliament. I will be very open to you. For these members of parliament from opposition, they are very clear that we are voting out Linturi because he carries the highest responsibility for anything that happens in his ministry. Whether he was the one who supplied the fake fertilizer, whether it was in his knowledge or not, but by the virtue that he's sitting at the highest echelon of the ministry, then he bears the highest responsibility. In other mature democracies, he should have resigned by himself. But on the other hand, people are voting for or against Linturi for other reasons. Number one, those who are in the agriculture committee, they have a direct relationship with the minister. So they will find them voting because, this minister promised me something in my constituency. This minister did this and this. Now, those who are from Rift Valley, they were voting for Linturi. Why? Because of Mary Ann Ketan. Because of their previous domestic issues. They were punishing him for, harassing their girl. That was what was at play. Now, those from Mount Kenya, they are saying, this is one of our own. We have to protect. So if the voting pattern is like that, then the issue and the content and the pros and the cons of the issues at play now no longer becomes the basis of people voting. And that's, I said, the biggest tragedy. You will not see such a kind of tragedy elsewhere. Probably I could see it also. South African election has some resemblance of what we are going through. You'll find the predominant Zulus in one supporting one candidate, and other you can see the results from South Africa. It's just a clear reflection of what is happening to this country. In US, you'll find you are either a Democrat or you are a Republican. It doesn't matter whether Linturi is from your tribe or is from wherever. It's either you are Democrats have the highest number of votes or the Republican have the highest number. It's ideology based. The conservative versus the liberals. But here, it's not about the conservative versus the liberals. Our parties are regional, ethnic based. And how it came up from, and that's why I said, and forgive me if I misuse your station to say this, that the clique of people who are brought up by Moi regime, for this country to change, all of them have to go. Because they are the people who have benefited out of tribal alignment. If it is Ruto was with Uhuru at some point. They campaigned together against Kibaki. Now, Ruto left Uhuru. He joined Raila. They campaigned together. Then now, at some point, Mudavadi was with Uhuru and Moi on one side. Ruto was with Raila, Kalonzo on one side. Another election, Ruto is now with Uhuru. Uhuru, whom he left the other election. Now the other guys, Mudavadi left now Uhuru, joined Raila. Now the next election, Wetangula is on Kibaki's side. Now the next election, Wetangula is on Raila's side. Now this election, Musalia is now with Ruto and Wetangula. The same guys who were with Raila. When will this kind of shenanigans stop? It won't. So that's what I'm saying. For this country to ever change, all these people who are around, the only person we forgive to some extent is Raila. Why? At some point, this Raila was jailed. Even when Kalonzo and Mudavadi were in the government, Raila was serving his jail term. He never got to be mixed up in all this Moise thing. But later on, he also left the government, and you can see the kind of changes he has pursued and achieved in this country. If you talk about the new constitution, Raila will be there. Devolution, he will be there. But these other guys, they'll have nothing attached to them in terms of any changes. So that's what we are saying.
So this
as long as
this new leader, who
Yes.
then does not have this influence of the Nyayoism and all, but who has brought them up? It is those that have had the influence of the Nyayoism.
what do you say brought up? Like for me, who brought me up?
You tell us, actually.
No, you are the ones who are saying they have been brought up. So for me, who brought me up?
But you see, that is a plural.
Yes.
And with every pluralism, there are exceptions.
Yes.
You see, how many times have you been elected to parliament?
This is my second term now.
Okay. Now, clearly, whatever it is that you are selling resonates with the electorate in your part of the world,
Yes.
and they tend to agree with you.
Yes.
All right?
Yes.
Now, there are many other MPs who have a second term.
Yes.
There are a few who have even a third term. That isn't the issue here.
Yes.
The issue is you're talking about politics at the national level,
Yes.
and you're talking about the influences that shape that politics, and that you're suggesting it doesn't benefit the Mwananchi.
Yes.
We cannot abolish the tribes, they exist. The allegiances that we have, this is the closest to what you call coalitions, what we see here. I would argue that coalitions are a good thing.
They will be there all the time.
Yes, I would argue that having a situation like the South Africans had, where ANC was a monolith that changed everything, and even that has changed.
Yes.
ANC is going to seek somebody to help them have a majority.
Yes.
Okay.
Going down.
Yes. So this coalition system that we have, how do we manage it? Because what it appears to me is, yes, we may mention a few big names, but irrespective of who it is, who is their follower, everybody seems to want the same thing. They may want their person in power, but it's so that they can benefit. Not so that the people who elected them can benefit, so that they can benefit. What we're seeing here...
Have they not benefited enough? I'll give you an example of, say, for me, myself. Before I became a member of parliament of Saboti, there was absolutely nothing happening in Saboti. Why? Because people were used to their tribe leader. That as long as one of our own. And by the way, for your information, the history, I'm the first, maybe members of parliament, to be elected by people who are not my tribe. In the history, everywhere in this country. Give me an example.
If we go down history, I can give you examples, but I understand the point you're making.
So the point is, we had a system that has been set up from Moise time, that Kalonzo belongs to Eastern. Raila tried to traverse the whole country, but we will not delink him from Nyanza. Mudavadi just around Maragoli, Vihiga. Okay, in fact, I don't know why his name even appears, and he has not even a single MP from his constituents. You'll find Uhuru is just central. You see, when Gachagua is saying now you have to recognize Uhuru as our leader. You'll find William Ruto, but William Ruto took it by force from Gideon Moi. Rift Valley was by inheritance for Gideon Moi. Ruto took it by force. So we are saying, now it is enough. They must have, even if we are going to maintain the same arrangement of every tribe being represented, but don't we have new players? Don't we have Americans have had a change of presidents after every 8 years? And that's why the country progresses. You can have ideas. See, the way I came to Saboti as a new member of parliament, a different one. Now people are saying we are seeing development in Saboti since the creation of this constituency. We are seeing bursary for the first time. We are seeing schools being built for the first time. Why? Because there was a change of leadership. So what even if you maintain the same arithmetic,
actually, it is not the change of leadership. It's a change of a certain type
of a leader. Yes.
Not even leadership.
Yes.
Because the Kenyan electorate are very good at changing the leaders.
Yes.
We do it all the time and with every election.
Yes.
You see, you are not a good example. You're not a good example to give in that because you represent, if I'm to take everything you say at your word, you are a good example of what you call the exception.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Now, how is it then that the vast majority of people we see in Parliament, if we were to go by the patterns, the voting pattern, the history of voting pattern, is that they will tend to vote with the party that the president of the nation is aligned to?
Yes. But that is if they belong to that party.
No, in this country, even if they don't belong to that party, we have seen people within even ODM who are now
It is an
aligning
assumption.
them.
Yes, those
aligning
people, not
themselves.
all of them. Those people who go there, number one. And I always tell people to be very careful in which formation they move in. If you look at somebody like Malulu Njendi serving his third term, this person thinks that even if my constituents do not want me to go with the government, I want to go with the government because I want one or two things from the government to do for me. Even if I'm going home, so be it, because I'm serving my third term. So there are people who knows where they are going. You don't follow them blindly. Maybe they are serving their last term and they know. So when they work with the president, they know they are not going to back to the constituents. Irrespective of what their constituents want, shauri yao. Maybe I'm serving my last. So it depends also with that individuals. Now, there are people you've come from Nyanza, they know. If you go with the president, it will be very hard. It will be very hard for you to come back to Nyanza and ask them for a vote. You will not see them in State House. Those who go there, they think, I have some tender I need to do somewhere. I have to be with the president. So if they fell down, so be it, they've made their money. So people come to leadership with their own different agenda. And you cannot use it now to read how the politics of the country is, in my view. There are exceptions, but generally, you'll see people going to the government for a specific reason. If you follow him, you'll be in trouble because this guy maybe knows very well he'll not come for re-election.
The question City is asking, we see members voting along party lines or along... Party in this country is the owner of the party, the principles of the party. You see people voting along Uhuru line, Ruto line, Raila line, Kalonzo line, right?
Yes.
Why is it that happens? Is it because they lack principle? Or is it because their principles align with the person?
They don't have principle because their voters are aligned to those individuals. If it is Wiper, these members know very well that in Eastern, where I come from, the region is Wiper. You have to be with Kalonzo. So what Kalonzo says, I have to be them. If there will be a new leader other than Kalonzo, maybe, who will also mobilize Canvas, those leaders will by nature just assume also the same position. It's not because you will find members voting for that finance bill. On the side where they are complaining. But when it comes to voting, they have to vote with their party because they fear the repercussion for the next election.
What's the repercussion? That somebody will make sure you don't come back?
Don't come back because you are not part of their team. Then secondly, the voters will also punish you. You've seen some situations where the president goes, for example, Raila goes to Nyanza, and they tell them, for your vote we'll give you. But for this one, we are not going to vote for him as a member of parliament because you went against your principles of the party.
But
so the problem is the parties we have been ethnicized, balkanized along tribal line. If we heard them differently, then we'll be talking a different story.
As an MP, don't be cheated into concentrating on representing your electorate only in Parliament. You must traverse all regions for oversight and legislation. Guess who said that?
Maybe the president?
The president actually said that over the weekend. So it would appear as though he's actually asking... And please note, I said it would appear as though he's actually asking members of parliament to essentially do their job and to go around the country and do the things for which the constitution has then set aside. This is what you're actually supposed to do.
So according to you, what will be a member of parliament from Saboti doing in Lamu, for example?
Have you been to Lamu?
No.
You should go somewhere.
So what will I be
Actually,
doing
very nice
there?
place, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
A member
it's a
of-
nice. I'm not saying a bad place. Okay, let me use an example.
Let me tell you. No,
I was being
Another one.
facetious,
Let me,
Mheshimiwa.
let me
Yes.
respond with Lamu.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
There may be a piece of legislation that comes to Parliament that will require your vote, and it will be having a direct impact on the people of Lamu or the surrounding areas.
Do you know how that one is done? It's
Tell
through,
us.
It's through committees.
Okay.
That's
Our
why there
our
are
committee is
committees.
comprised of members of Parliament.
Yes.
So your question has been answered.
But-
what would a member of Parliament be doing in Lamu?
The question of Ruto is quite in a different context.
Oh, that's
It
what
looks
I
like you are
appeared
a
to-
members of Parliament. You are just roaming across the country, carelessly, helter-skelter,
And what's wrong
for
with
no
that?
good reason. It's very wrong.
Why?
Why a member you will leave your constituents? Yes, 2 days ago I was in Kakamega attending a funeral. I had to call the area member of Parliament who is in US that I'm visiting your constituents because that is not my area. If I am found there, what am I doing there? Am I to be sent by the committee of Parliament to investigate on certain matters or to do public participation, a meeting, which is already in line? The president don't need to tell them. It is already part of our laws. It is already part of our standing orders. The president does not have to remind them that you have to move around. They move around anyway. But the context in which the president was saying is that they want to move around campaigning for him. So he wants those members of Rift Valley to be in central, not on public participation, not because they are there on committee or not looking for how housing or flooding has affected them. No, because they are campaigning for Ruto, which is totally wrong.
Mheshimiwa, electioneering is public participation.
Public participation in readiness for the next election.
It is public participation. Because when you're selling an agenda, you are seeking to entice the listening public to believe in what you're selling. But let me ask a different
When
question.
the president now enforces it, what does it mean?
No, he has not enforced it.
Yeah.
He has merely made a statement.
A statement that is obvious. It's like saying for you to be in parliament, you must be elected. As a president, why should you keep on saying that? That's why he said
Actually-
in his context was totally different.
What Eric has said
Yeah.
answers your question, but let me give you a different perspective. Why is it then that we must remind the ruling party, the executive, those in power, that we have people from the year 2020 who are affected by floods who have not received help? Why must we constantly remind those in parliament that there are people who these current floods have displaced, and also remind them that from again 2020, because of the problems we had, and in 2022, the problems we had with the drought, that there are people who do not know where their next meal is coming from? Why do we have to remind the Ministry of Education that capitation for schools has not been provided for? Why do we keep reminding people when they know exactly what they're supposed to do, because this is their job anyway?
Yes, but are you sure those cabinet secretaries really know what they're supposed to do? That is an assumption. Some of them do not. Some of them are sitting in those positions, but they are not aware on how to even undertake. You've seen even cabinet secretaries complaining why they are supposed to come to parliament every now and then, because they don't even know that is supposed to be part of their duties, to come and be answerable to members of parliament. And if you look at what the president says, it's different from when you walk to a minister and remind him, you are taking them to your agenda. The president was replying to Gachagua. That's something you didn't want to come up. We know politics. We know how to read politics. The president was talking to Gachagua. He was not talking to members of parliament. He was specifically talking to Gachagua.
So he doesn't actually believe in what he said when he talks about that nationwide representation. What he was basically saying was a rebuttal to what the deputy president had said about to your own constituency.
That's why I said you ought to be nominated to parliament, because you are beyond some of these members. You understand it very well. That is exactly where the statement was directed, not to members of parliament.
There's something big that you said, that we need to start thinking of the next crop of leaders after this crop of leaders that have left. We saw the Kibaki and the independence leaders leaving. The second generation leaders are leaving. Then there's the other crop of leaders that's going to be coming into office. How do we pick out the best leader? How do we pick out a leader who will vote in parliament not because Raila has made a call or Kalonzo, or Ruto, but will vote because this is the right thing to do. This is the right vote to cast.
If we have ideologically driven parties, right now we do not. If you look at the ANC, why people have been voting for the ANC, because they believe that this is a party that fought apartheid. This is a party that delivered South Africa from colonialism. There is an ideology around ANC, and that's why it has kept whoever is leading the ANC doesn't matter, because there was an ideology along ANC. If you come to CCM in Tanzania, this is the parties that were also linked to colonial fighters, freedom fighters, the Mwalimu Nyerere and the likes. So there is an ideology to that. In Kenya, the parties are individualized, so that if Ruto moves today and forms a new party, all those supporters will move from UDA and they go to that. There is a time when DP, the Democratic Party, was the party to talk about in this country, but because of Kibaki. When Kibaki moves to PNU and the NAC and the rest, that was the end of DAP. So the moment our parties now become ideologically based, then the way the US is, the way the South Africa is, the way the CCM of Tanzania is, I don't know about Uganda, but you can see that's how democracy is. And of course, Britain, you will see now the Labour Party, the Conservative. Why are they the Conservative? They believe in some,
Point made. Caleb Amisi, thank you very much for joining us. MP for Saboti constituency.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.